Oh, we're live. There's a little yellow arrow.
Hello.
Oh, let me get onto our YouTube so I can look at questions.
All right. Welcome to Apropos, a conversation between Clojure programmers that you can join in live on YouTube. We're going to discuss a few Clojure news items and share our opinions on them. Then, well, we're not going to jump into a REPL today, so I won't read that part. But please, if you're joining us live, feel free to comment in the chat, and we'll try to address the question.
Don't tell them we're not going to do a REPL. They'll all leave.
We could do a virtual REPL.
Yeah. Everyone else can type. We'll have to go back to the con.
We'll do an audio only REPL. We'll just talk about what we're typing.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So actually today is kind of special because it's during the Conj and we have two Conj attendees joining us live on location at the Conj.
Indeed. Rather than being live from our usual black office somewhere in San Francisco, we are at the conference hotel right now.
Wow. Look at that. It's like you're actually there.
The mighty internets. Magic of the internet.
I would describe the office as more of a dark purple.
That's fine. We had Stu's exciting opening keynote this morning with talking about Clojure 110 and Datafy and some of the PREPL stuff and bringing it all together with REPL.
So
an interesting new little bit of tech.
I was confused like the whole time because I hadn't had my coffee yet. But is REPL related to REPL Readline or is it different?
No,
it's different.
It's just the same joke.
That's confusing. Okay.
It's online already.
The whole bit is that it's a read eval browse loop as opposed to being a read eval print loop. So the idea is that round tripping Java objects through read and print is actually extremely hard. And it leads to this dichotomy when you're exploring stuff in REPL of there are things that are data that you can read, print, round trip, and there are all these things you want to interact with, like Java instance objects and connections and stuff that have no meaningful read, print, round tripping. Because like you can't serialize a database connection and read a database connection. It doesn't really make any sense, especially from a complicated thing. So what REPL does is REPL gives you a way to visualize and browse objects that get returned from eval as if they're a tree structure.
So it's a GUI. It's a GUI application.
Yeah, it's a JavaFX application that Cognitect is at least releasing, if not open sourcing, effective today.
It's free.
It's free as in beer.
Free as in beer.
It's very, very clear that it's free as in beer, not free as in freedom.
Which I thought that he was saying B as in beer because it's the REPL, not the REPL. So that was like.
And did he say free as in beer, as in here's some free beer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he give you the free beer? Is what I'm saying.
We got the software, so close enough.
That's coming later. There will be beer later. Also, Daniel adds that REPL is not for commercial use.
Oh, interesting.
So thank you, REPL.
Wow.
Oh, hi, Bork, dude.
That's really, that's getting increasingly hard to do. Not for commercial use.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how, like, I don't know. It's like saying that my pen is not for commercial use. I'm like, well, I wrote something down and I don't know.
And especially like since every software dev has like a pretend startup.
Yeah.
Like at what point does it cross from when does it cross from hobby into commercial?
I mean,
it's all a blur.
This is why Datomic 3 was always interesting. It's like, at what point do you need to be paying for Datomic license? Because Datomic was not for commercial use, not for profiling use on the free version.
I think the difference with the Datomic free version is that you basically didn't get any backing support, so you couldn't. You could use the file system, so you had all the APIs and everything, but you couldn't really operationalize it.
Yeah.
So that was the big distinction.
And Tim is saying that he's created an issue because he thinks we're just misinterpreting what was meant in Stu's announcement statement and by what's meant in the license.
Yeah.
So we'll see if there's some clarification there. Thanks for calling that out.
Yeah, he says he assumes they mean you can't sell Rebel as part of your project, but that's not really what it says right now.
Right,
So that does make
okay.
sense.
Yeah, it's like Cognitech themselves can't use it.
Right. Well, no, you can make special cases of licenses. Come on.
Yeah.
They have to take it outside to use it.
Well, is it like Windows? That's not for commercial use, but people still use it for commercial purposes. Yeah.
That's why I use the bootleg version. That's the joke.
Yeah.
We are in fact live from my brand new Microsoft Surface, so we are
Oh, Christ.
highly dedicated to free and open source technology.
Did they pay you to say that?
No, they didn't. I'm just riffing on the whole thing.
It's not for commercial use. You can't pay them to
So-
say it.
Did they pay off Bruce Howman for the name? That's a little close.
Yeah, it's very close. It's so
It's gonna
close.
be confusing.
I actually thought they were related.
I thought they had adopted it, or yeah.
So what are the big feature differences?
Between Bruce's Rebel
Mhm.
so Bruce's Rebel was designed to solve the problem of not wanting to embed Cider, like the entire Cider application as a dependency, into the thing you wanted to talk to a Cider. And so the idea with Rebel was that you had this big binary blob that was like Cider base 64 and then gzipped that you sent over the wire into your application. So you shipped a dependency-free, unmodified version of your app, and then could, after the fact, inject dev tools into it over the wire.
Okay.
And that was the whole bit with Rebel Readline, among other things. Is that that was Uber. Rebel Readline was just a better readline for closure at the terminal.
So they're like the only similarity here is that you can scroll back and look at them. Basically.
Yeah, they're solving completely different purposes.
Yeah.
Rebel Readline was just a terminal extension. This is a full GUI app and a suite of protocols by which they hope that people go build like a closure script equivalent browser thing and some other stuff.
Is it better than the Atomic console? Because that was not awesome.
It's the Datomic. The sales pitch that Stu gave was that the initial motivation for this thing was to, in building the next Datomic console for the hosted cloud version.
Right, okay.
There seems to be this structural similarity that Rich wanted to factor out into the general tree browsing thing. And so the result is Rebel, which is the general tree browsing bit of that.
And so this is all based on new stuff, the nav and Datafy protocols.
Yes.
And so
what's nav?
So nav and Datafy are kind of duals. The idea is that nav is like get-in, but it's structured because of its structure of the protocol. Rather than being closures like closure line associative, you can define nav on almost arbitrary objects.
I wonder if that would solve some of Ambrose's problems with type closure that he was having.
Maybe. So the idea is that you can take an object, you datafy it, and the thing that you datafy is not even, right? Datafy doesn't recursively go all the way down and build the whole tree. Datafy is supposed to be a lazy thing, which lets you then use nav to select other Java objects that haven't been datafied yet out of the thing you've already datafied and nav down into those things and kind of walk the whole tree incrementally to only look at what you want to look at.
So you're
So it's like GraphQL into an object tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea.
It's really cool.
One of the demos that Stu showed off at this morning's keynote was using that to go through Datomic queries. And so he was able to nav through a Datomic database, same as the inspector.
Oh, following the refs to different
following
entities.
to see the next object. So he did a query live and then was browsing through the results and chasing their refs live, issuing more subqueries out the back and logging those queries so you can see exactly what's happening. It was pretty slick.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Do you just launch it from your regular REPL? Do you do something and it pops up? And
don't know yet.
We haven't looked at it.
Yeah.
He said he was running them concurrently. He had his own Cider REPL and then
it got embedded in. So he wasn't running Cider. He was running inferior list because I actually looked very carefully at the screen.
Okay.
I'm trying to reverse engineer it.
But it sounded like he was running the Java FX Rebel thing from within his existing closure process, and so it's kind of a sidecar thread.
Did he talk about why they chose Java FX? Because that seems like a heap of shit to me. So, what was the what's the kind of like? Why did they sort of say, okay, from that pile of dung, we can actually see something good?
Oh, you add it as a dep, and it runs in the same process as the rest of your app. Thank you, Tim.
Interesting.
And Daniel's given us the incantation here, which is CLJ-R::rebel-M cognitect.rebel. You can.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
David Nolan
says you can launch Rebel from an existing REPL.
Do we just have like all content?
Wait, it's already in our closure? Like it's in there already?
No, it's a dep you have to bolt on.
Oh, okay.
But then it's like, yo, dog, we heard you like
Rebel in your REPL.
How many REPLs deep are we now?
So we put a Rebel in your.
REPL itself uses p-REPL under the hood, so it's got its own like eval machinery going.
Oh wow, yeah. David says it will watch your evals.
Oh no.
So, oh geez.
What will I do?
But no commercial evals. No commercial evals.
You gotta wag a finger when you say that, Eric.
Speaking of which, we just saw a talk that I really, really liked. Boris's.
Yeah, Boris's machines that judge us.
Yeah, one of the talks here. He's the guy who did it. He's kind of an artist, and he built this camera that looks at you and then uses the same machine learning software that advertisers use to decide what to sell you, and it tells you its judgments of you.
Yeah, so it's three machines that kind of watch you like ravens, and when they use facial recognition and some of their classifiers to build up the same sort of demographic data we use for ad targeting, and then that demographic data is used to select scripts that are like the three ravens talking to each other about who they think you are and what they think they might want to do in terms of loading you up with a high-priced loan or something else. Not that we do any of that.
Yeah. So Tim Baldridge says, to the Java FX question, what else is there to use for UIs unless you want to start up a web browser that loads a bunch of JS? And Zach Oak says, this is going to be the year of the Java FX desktop ray. Mark my words.
I think he's got a point there. Yeah.
What have you got against Java XX? I mean, come on.
Well, I think it's not just me. It's like 99% of the world. But okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just because people make crappy apps in it. Like.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's like a lot of things. It just has zero reach, So have fun with the app itself. It's all right, but you're never going to be able to make really good use out of it for most products to reach most people. I think that's the bottom line.
We're in the break period between talks, so we're seeing some more folks show up here.
Yeah.
Get a microphone up here. Where'd you get that microphone?
This is my microphone. This is the one that we always use.
Oh, okay. Because I guess it's because it's so far away. It's really hard to hear.
Oh, here we go.
Both of you.
Yeah, we're trying not to blast anyone's ears.
Well, you're good, Mia, but Reid is like, shockingly bad.
Oh well.
Well, no, that's just Reid.
I'm always shockingly bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why you let me on the show in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's
I was aware that week.
So a talk just got out, and now everyone's on break, and it's very noisy. But we're having a really good time.
Yeah. Did you go to game night? Was that fun?
We missed game night.
Oh. Never mind.
It's really hard when you're flying out from the West Coast because, like, you lose 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like you get here, and 3 hours have passed that you didn't tell anyone they could take. They're just gone now.
Literally spent all day on the plane.
I think you signed that away when you bought the ticket.
We get them back going the other direction.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It'll be okay.
There's a refund, yeah. So you said you went to some barbecue or some rib fest.
The pit, right?
Yeah, we went to the pit. I just really like ribs. So I've been a vegetarian for a while, and I always give up when I'm in North Carolina, which is very bad. But and then Charles did a really good job on his talk.
Yeah, so the big announcement from us is Charles Reese, who's our team lead, gave a talk that was the second thing of the morning in track A that was talking about how we do Kafka and how we develop Kafka topologies and do stream processing with Clojure. So we actually open sourced Jackdaw, which is the thing that Charles and I have been. We actually spent Thanksgiving cleaning up to make sure that it was ready to open source at the Conj.
Yeah.
So I kind of clicked the button 2 minutes before the talk. It's up on Clojure's now, and you can go check out Jackdaw, which is our Kafka Streams wrapper library that helps you produce and consume records and work with Kafka.
And you've heard it, like you've all, like everyone watching has heard a lot of me talking about how we use Clojure to make our Kafka experience better. And this is now available for everyone to use, which is really cool. It's, you know, like there's always, every Conj, there's like, what is Clojure's killer app? What is Clojure's killer app? And I really do believe that Clojure, because Kafka is an immutable log, essentially, and because Clojure has these immutable data structures where we can have a really nice one-to-one match of like Clojure thing to Kafka topic. It's, if you're thinking about doing Kafka, if you're thinking about stream processing, check out Jackdaw and use Clojure. That's my plug.
Cool.
I liked your tweet the other day, actually, Mia.
Wait, Ray, what?
I liked your tweet about if you're going to do a startup, don't do Rails, do Clojure.
Well, no, it's like everyone's already got their Rails startup. So it's if you're going to migrate it to stream processing microservices, which of course you are, because you've got 500 computers talking to each other and you have to monitor those contracts somewhere, do it in Clojure. Don't do it in Scala.
Oh no, sad frowny face. So can I ask about the attendees? Like I was listening to the Cognicast and they were talking about how they were almost sold out of tickets.
Yeah.
It's busy. It's really busy here.
Yeah. Who's the Cognitive CEO?
I don't know.
Justin.
Justin, yeah.
Justin stood up and gave the pre-keynote introduction. That was the welcome, here's the code of conduct, here's some events you should be aware of, and also thanks everyone for coming. We're within, I think he said 1 or 2 tickets of having completely sold out their capacity at the venue. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
cool.
really busy. All the talks have been well attended. Durham is great.
People should come here more.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the city of Durham is so they should be kicking back to Cognitect if they're not, because it is
And like doubled the population.
well, and it's just so nice to be here. You know, you can walk to all these restaurants. So people are having a really good time, I think. But it is definitely crowded. It feels a lot more crowded than it feels as crowded as Conj did last year. It feels a lot more crowded than Clojure West did last year.
Is it, how many tracks are there?
They're running 2, so I think we've got the A, B, C, and D ballrooms that are they're 2 each.
Okay.
So the A, actually no, it's just the A track.
Yeah, so
just
it's A and then B and
Yeah, so the keynotes were CBD and the machines that judges talk and some other stuff has been on track.
So the A ballroom is like the little track, and it's like the one with 1 screen, and then C and D is 2 screens.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we've got we should have Alex do his talk for us after.
Are you
friend
missing
of-
Alex's talk?
Yeah,
Engelberg.
Yeah, friend of the show, Alex Engelberg, is doing the final talk at Conj this year, and it's a parody talk.
Right.
So, yeah, I've seen some of the slides, and I'm really excited.
It should be very funny.
Yeah.
That is the every Clojure talk ever.
That's the one.
Yes.
Yep.
We've been over in the corner trying to brainstorm up the most unfortunate uses of lazy sequences and other things that we could possibly imagine from the slides.
Oh,
It's gonna be an interesting talk.
Stu said something. He said that what he said was, you have a capacity to be infinitely lazy, and he meant like you within your program. But I was like, yeah.
Zen.
Well, that's
True
what the hammock is for.
Yeah.
have a hammock reference and a dictionary definition.
Yeah.
And what else do you need?
That definition in his talk, we fumbled that one.
Yeah. He also didn't say code as data at any point.
Oh my god, yeah. At least
Wow.
the live.
Wait, but then you need the code as data is code.
Yeah. There were multiple code as data as code moments in Stu's talk this morning, so that made up for it.
Stu had actually really good set of opening diagrams. Like the first
Yeah.
5 or 7 minutes of the talk was just like
Those were
code
great.
is data, data is code. Here's
He also
the
had
picture.
a talk title joke.
The talk title joke was, I think the talk was titled TBD up until the first slide. The first slide was this slide left blank. The second slide was this slide also left blank, and the third slide was actually like the title of the talk.
I thought it was actually just blank.
Yeah.
No, it was not in fact just blank.
It was very funny though. Does anyone inside the computer right now have questions they want us to ask people, or like things they want to hear about?
Like a man on the street kind of thing, walk around and like
that. or we can also just like talk to people and report back to you.
So I'll ask you something. That's a good question, Mia. So I'll let people start typing. But while they're doing that, what is the
Tim says I'm stuck in here. How do I get out of this computer?
You need to use Datafy, the Datafy protocol, Tim.
Nav. He needs to nav out
And
of
then
it.
nav. Set some metadata so you can dispatch on it.
Press Control-C on yourself. Okay?
PRSTR, so that you can get back in when you need
Control-Q,
to.
actually. Yeah.
So my question was, what is the mood / vibe about the infamous Clarity post that dropped the other day?
I would say deliberately avoidant.
So it's like awkward avoidance.
Yeah.
There's definitely like the words open source right now, regardless of like whenever they're used in a talk, do elicit noise from the audience.
Okay, like little mumbles.
Or claps, or like
Oh,
laughter, like things that probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But I'd say that's just like, we're all here to talk about the language and like the things that we've been building and like see what everyone else has been building. So it's actually I'd say there's a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, I think it's pretty happy and excited for the most part. The folks that are here, we're industry folks and people that are passionate about what we're doing. A lot of veterans here. I'm really kind of floored by how I forget, because I don't know, I was at Funding Circle in the Bay Area, how old Clojure is out here on the East Coast. And it's really been impressive to see the folks that are around and remember how long some of those folks have been in the community, and they're still here. It's still going strong in a lot of ways. Everyone's excited to be here.
Definitely an East Coast bias in the companies that are recruiting. Lots of companies out of New York, a few out of Canada. And this is something, so Canada's Clojure scene is like fairly big.
Yeah,
actually.
Toronto has a huge Clojure scene.
Yeah. So Kira Systems from Toronto is, I think, one of the main sponsors here. So yeah, there is a very heavy East Coast bias, and it does bring out like people whose names I've read in papers.
Cool.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
And
still no line for the women's bathroom.
Well, sorry. We'll get you a line if you want one.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
There's no line for the men's room either right now, but.
Wait, does the men's room have the like makeup mirror? Because the women's bathroom has like this like really nice like makeup mirror with like lights all around it. And,
no, we don't have the nice makeup mirror, I don't think.
So I have another question, if I can remember it now. Yeah, so y'all from the West Coast, I mean, you've been going to conjs already, but how do you feel about the non-existence of Closure West at the moment? Do you feel like more compelled to go to the Conj because there's no Closure West?
That's feeling more like a logistics thing. Like the more and more I'm hearing people talk, it sounding like that's legitimately just an Alex's time and logistics question than something else. So maybe that is the Closure West isn't dead; it's just resting, quick from
sure.
Maybe more literal than not.
Right. I mean, I think it's resting, but like, do you as West Coasters, do you feel like you are more compelled to fly across the country than you were before because you're not getting your fix or whatever?
I mean, so when I went to Strange Loop was Closure West 2014, I think was my first Closure conference. And Factual brought me out before I interned with them. And then that was the first big one. And that was, I was coming from the East Coast at the time. So I flew across country to meet the internet people. And then Strange Loop again was the first conference that I sent myself to 2 years ago. I basically went to meet Chaz Merrick in person. And everything else after that was gravy. And it was an amazing conference. I'm glad I went, and I went again this year because I had such a great time. But I guess that's just kind of part of the game. Like we're not East Coast based. It's not the same professional network. If you want to meet the people and shake the hands, you gotta come fly out and meet the people and shake the hands.
I mean, no matter what, like if you're flying somewhere, you're losing a day just because of security. Because you're checking into a hotel, like you're losing that day anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. I mean, I am missing game night. Right? I would say the big difference. It's really, really hard to get here early enough to get to the pre-opening nighttime activities.
Yeah.
I also wonder whether that's why they've sold out.
Because there's only the one conference.
There's only one.
And they don't split. Go to conference. Yeah.
Can I ask you another question about like what's the kind of what's the off-piste activities in terms of like, do they have whiteboards for suggestions? And a lot of conferences have these kind of like idea places, or what's the kind of out of the kind of rooms where you talk to? What's the kind of vibe there? Yeah,
I think there's not a whole lot going on there. There's Cognitect has the front booth when you walk down the hall towards the conference track, and that's kind of the ombudsman desk right now with Karen Meyer and some other fine folks kind of rotating to keep it staffed.
They have these nice stickers you can use to censor your name tag.
Ooh.
Oh, cool. Did you invent that, or was that deliberate?
You don't exist.
So they don't have any kind of unconference type things. They don't have any whiteboards or that kind of thing.
It's not like the big old tech radar or anything that was kind of out and up for suggestions at Strange Loop.
Right.
Yeah, I've actually, Closure conferences and Kafka conferences are the only programming conferences I've been to. Yeah. So I'm actually not familiar with they're both kind of vendor con-y at some level. This is Cognitect's conference, and Kafka Summit is Confluence conference. Oh, this one, and actually Kafka Summit, they did a really, really good job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It didn't feel vendor con-y at all. And obviously this one doesn't, because it is also our community hangout.
Right.
But I don't really see any kind of suggestion or anything like that. Yeah. I've never seen that at a conference I've been to.
Grab Alex. He's sitting in the hall.
I did finally meet Alex.
Incredibly friendly.
He's so nice.
You were nerding out on Pokemon for a solid 10 minutes.
He doesn't play anymore. Don't tease him. I still do. You can tease me.
Are there any Pokemon at the conference?
Oh yeah.
Pokemon
a lot.
Type things. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Also, if anyone here is playing Pokemon Let's Go and wants to trade with me, I really need an Alakazam. I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. This is very serious. Find me and trade Pokemon with me.
It is both serious and funny.
But yeah, it looks like we haven't actually gotten any questions. So we're very, very lonely. We really thought that people would want to hang out on the show, but apparently,
it's fine. We would have got Alex, but he's still prepping talk material, and we'll get Ambrose on another day.
Oh yeah, so we did. Ambrose Bonaire Sargent is going to be. He wants to come on the show. Or actually, I kind of like bullied him. I didn't bully him. I just asked him nicely.
Ambrose is a nice boy. He wants to come on the show.
He's going to come on the show, and he's going to talk about the trials and tribulations of typed closure, as well as because he's been doing his PhD on that for the last 6 years. So he's going to demo some of that work that he's been doing on type closure and talk about like arriving there. So that's really exciting. We're going to work out the schedule with him.
Cool.
Very awesome.
So how long is the conference actually? Is it like 3 days? So you got 2 more days, or is it 1 more day?
It runs on Saturday until noon-ish. I think Alex closes it out, ending at noon.
Alex Engelberg, not Alex Miller.
Yeah.
His talk ends at 12:10.
Oh. There's a talk on Friday. It looks really fun. The Party REPL, a multiplayer REPL for pair programming.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited about that. And I'd like to see how Party REPL compares to Reptile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shit. Come on.
It's got a better name. Yeah.
I'm glad there's finally some serious effort into having this kind of multiplayer REPL experience.
Yeah, and we've got one of our own multiplayer REPL developers here.
Indeed.
Yeah, and there's a.
Wow, it's so live. People are walking by and saying hi. I'm kind of jealous. I love the closure crowd. I wish I could do that and talk to them.
It's so nice to be here.
It is weird to like meet people from the mighty internet who I've talked to online for 6 years and never met in person before.
Yeah, you have no idea what they look like.
Yeah.
But they know what you look like.
I post a lot of selfies.
Yeah.
So everyone knows what we look like.
Met Andy Fingerhut and Daniel Solano Gomez, and the gang's all here.
Are you a fan of the show? All right.
You want to be on the show?
Tim, come on, apropos.
We need next year. Next year you got the Conj. We need some merch or something, so you can like have an apropos T-shirt, or some badges or something like that to give out.
I want a trucker hat.
Oh God. Okay.
Ray, did you just make a sad face about trucker hats?
Yeah, well,
it's North Carolina. Come on.
I've got a bad rap recently.
Oh yeah, that's actually one thing I don't know about. Is it going to be in Durham every year from now on?
I don't know. I mean, it's moved around before.
Oh, the shirts are cute. Let me show you.
I guess I'd be surprised. Maybe it'll be here. Maybe it won't be.
Cutting insight there, Reid.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah. There's been a notable lack of T-shirt merch this year.
Everyone went with sponsors. Seems like.
Yeah, but Amperity has beanies.
Get amped.
Yeah, and they're hiring. So.
All right. Get one of those. I don't have a hat for cold weather.
You live in New Orleans, so.
I know, but it's been kind of cold here. It's been in the 40s. Right now it's like 69, but
nice.
So rude.
Cold snap here right now. We're like sitting 30s ish, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna warm up tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully get warmer. Last night was really cold walking home.
Yeah, but I will say there's definitely an East Coast bias in the companies recruiting here, and that is one thing I have noticed. It's very different from Closure West, and it's even different from Conj last year, which makes me wonder if it's just the general movement out of the Bay Area of startups that can no longer afford to start up there.
Yeah.
Which is something like, it's a topic that we all avoid talking about, but it's real. So it's lots of New York-based companies out here.
Cool.
What about the good old boys down south,
Well, there's only a few big cities down south, and I don't know of any big closure companies down here.
I think there's one in Atlanta, isn't there? Like some healthcare company? Maybe I'm making that up.
Healthfinch?
Maybe. I might be making that up. I thought there was an Atlanta one.
And I thought Dallas and Texas.
Yeah, Austin should have
Austin.
HEB and a couple of people had Dallas offices for a while. We had Factual had some folks that were remote out of Dallas, and I know that they're still in and around the closure community.
Because the startup that I work for is in Atlanta, and I tried to go to the Atlanta closure meetup last year, but it was kind of defunct. But in the last 6 months, they've like zombified. They've resurfaced. Boom, they're back in. So, and they're having regular meetups. So when I go out there next time, hopefully we can make it out to one of their meetups.
I know the DC one is pretty big.
Right.
Oh, I've heard the DC one's really big.
I mean, Conj was DC last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, Conj was Baltimore last year. Yeah. But I mean, it's, like from our perspective, like sitting in San Francisco, there's definitely a funnel to who can afford to stay there. Mm-hmm. And I do think that is affecting closure in San Francisco. But I think it's also affecting closure everywhere else. And I think we're going to start seeing a wider geographic distribution of closure is really good for small startups, right? Mm-hmm. You can do a lot of work with a small number of people. Yeah. And I think that we're going to be seeing an explosion of closure meetups and closure community in the smaller cities where people are having to move to start their startups. Mm-hmm. So, like, there's companies recruiting for Columbus, Ohio here.
Yep.
Wow. So I actually think that there's kind of like a dark closure element. Yeah, like a dark matter of closure that's like that is companies that don't talk a lot about being closure shops, and
like Walmart.
Well, no, Walmart is pretty well known that they do closure, but like I'm talking about
just people who use it but don't talk about it. Yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden they're like, let's sponsor the Conj. And it turns out that they have 50 people on their team, and like, where'd you come from? And
why aren't you buying training?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my second question. But yeah, definitely. I think that there's companies out there using it that just aren't so actively promoting the fact that they use it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's something like, like New York Times is a closure shop, isn't it?
Yep.
So is the Daily Telegraph.
I knew that.
I know that was a Scala shop. I didn't know it was a closure shop.
But you also,
the Guardian is also Scala, I think. So.
When you go to these conferences, I guess you get a sense of like you can recognize certain people, but then you get like this ratio of people that you don't recognize at all.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, oh, there's a lot more people out there who use this stuff that aren't necessarily online, and
sure,
but they show up at the conference, and you're like, oh, wow.
Log off. Is that what's happening right now?
Or they are online. They blocked us.
Yeah, they're just lurking. Yeah,
lurkers. Yeah, it's crazy because like last time I was at the Conj, Alex Miller always does this thing when he would open the conferences. He would say something like, how many people here are first timers, and I think what he was saying was that they've noticed that there's more and more first timers, that it's more, more than half now are beginner closurists and, first time conjurers.
That's a thing that PuppetConf and some of the other industry conferences have seen as well. The cons tend to skew towards people who are new to the language, new to the ecosystem, because people send their hires to the cons for training and for exposure to the thing. So you'll see that the talks need to stay at some level to a beginner accessible level.
Yeah.
Because a core function of a lot of these conferences is, helping onboard people, helping introduce them to the community. And I know PuppetConf especially has had a hard time with this because some of the folks there are very advanced and have been doing this stuff for decades. But at the same time, you need to have material that's accessible to people who are first time at the con, may or may not have worked with the tools before, don't know the ecosystem, don't know the problem space. There's a lot of opportunity to kind of span the gap there.
Yeah, people had that comment about Closure Sync, that they said there wasn't enough like beginner closure material. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't enough code of Clojure in general, but I think that's true. Like if someone flies across the country and they're a beginner and then there's nothing for them, right? I mean, I guess it's like a perpetual strange loop experience, right? Where you're just like, I have no idea. There's just so many new ideas, and that's also part of the experience, right? Is like mind blown. You get on the plane and you think about it on the way home.
Yeah. Like, oh, I didn't know it could do that.
Right.
But also, like, I think, like, if you're looking for a job in Clojure, then it's rational to come to a Clojure conference.
Yes.
So I think that we also see a lot of people, like, you've got new hires in Clojure, but you've also got people who are hoping to be the next new hire for a Clojure company here, which is why the people recruiting, like the geographic distribution of the people recruiting matters.
Yeah. Is there a lot of social space, socializing, stuff like that?
I would say yes.
Yeah, we're sitting in the general vicinity of the hotel bar, which is not open yet, but there's been a consistent like 5-6 tables out here rotating on and off of different people. The hallway track has been real active pretty much the entire day, despite the fact that the talks have been uniformly really good.
Talks have been really good, yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's been pretty active overall.
So people haven't been their laptops up coding away during all the talks.
No.
I mean, here and there you see, Perens and Cider, but
I've actually been watching
not a whole lot of it.
Yeah, and like in the audience, I've seen laptops close.
Yeah, I've seen laptops close, and I've seen notebooks come out.
Yeah,
several times.
The saddest thing is when you see like a bunch of people, no one's watching the talk, and they're not talking to each other, and they're just on their laptop in the back of the theater. You're like, what are you doing here? You get up and talk to somebody if you don't want to watch the talk.
Do all this way just to sit on your laptop like you could have been home.
Exactly.
I flew all this way to catch a region-exclusive Pokemon, which I've got now. So
I flew all this way to carry Mia's microphone around, apparently.
Okay, so can I ask you, Ray? You're going to Clojure X?
Clojure X, yes, next week.
When is
Monday,
that?
Tuesday.
Next week?
Monday, Tuesday.
So it's
I'm
not
going to be talking about my party fucking reptile.
Party.
The reptile. Yeah.
Reptile party.
And oh man. Yeah. So it's going to be good. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the different, I've never been to the London conference actually, even though I'm English. I've never been to that one. So that will be fun.
Will you live stream? We could have a special apropos just to get you to have a live stream.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an apropos light during the talk. So me and 2 other people, I've sort of recruited 2 of the speakers who are quite well known. So and we're going to do a programming challenge for 5 minutes.
Ah, cool. The REPL section.
Exactly. Yeah.
I thought you were going to like have puppets of us.
Ray, John Stevenson says Clojure X is one big party.
So all right, cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, I've seen John talks plenty of times there, and I've never been to any of the meetups or anything in London, so I'm looking forward to saying hello to all those people, actually.
And from what I can tell, London has a huge Clojure scene.
I think so, yeah.
I'd be interested to see what you guys end up talking about tonight, when you're having some beers and that's when the truth comes out, right? Yeah. That's when you'll run into your Clojure script friends. Yeah.
Do you want us to Skype you in, though? Because I'm sure people would like to hang out with you here.
Oh, I'll have to just drive down there and crash the party. Yeah.
Come on down.
Love to see you. You show up, I'll buy the beer.
That sounds good.
Is it? But not commercial use.
There's only Libre beer at this party.
Freezing Libre.
Well.
Yeah. So we have run over 250, and the next round of talks are starting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the initial delay, but
we wish you were here.
Yeah. And
Someday.
we'll definitely be much more reflecting on the Conj for future episodes.
Someday we should all go to a conference and do a panel.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We should propose a talk for the next Conj that's just apropos live.
An unsession, maybe.
Unsession, at least.
Yeah.
That this wound up being us at the hotel bar was maybe a little bit less structured than we could have been about it. But
there were no rooms.
Yeah, there were no rooms. We're not going to go crash the speakers lounge.
We could crash the speakers lounge.
Yeah, next time is Crash the Speakers Lounge.
You could also like be in the back of the room where the speakers speaking is happening, and like we could see them behind you.
Do you want us to take you into okay? Do you want us to just carry Reid's surface around?
Maybe if you did it from a phone, you know, like you could. I don't know.
Like one of those robots, the telepresence robots.
A GoPro on your head.
Yeah, you want to go.
Since this apropos live sounds like something you'd see at Comic-Con, which I will choose to take as a compliment, sir.
Yeah, because we're all super.
Right. Including the long lines to get into.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, I could see Eric doing a really good Doctor Strange.
Oh, interesting.
Right, it's Doctor. It's Doctor Strange, right? That Benedict Cumberbatch's character. Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're out of here.
Yep.
So, bye everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Have fun. Well, we're still here.
I think we should call it a day now, though.
Yeah. That was.
Thanks very much.
That was interesting. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Subscribe. Share with your friends.
Awesome.
Bye.